Dealing with these CEOs and billionaires is not always pretty. When I asked one of the Davos CEOs why he only had one woman on his CEO team, he blocked me on Twitter. He was a billionaire, and I'm not going to name names right now. You know who you are. If any man treats a woman terribly, and there are some out there, some that you think are wonderful CEOs, well, let me tell you something, guys. You are all in big trouble now. Because now that this Me Too movement is coming on so fast, there's no stopping it. It is not right what CEOs and billionaires at Davos are doing right now. We need to have a lot more female executive coaches, management consultants, people like me at the World Economic Forum. I am not happy with men who cheat on their wives and then they go around the world and they have huge carbon footprints and say, well, everyone else should sign the Paris Agreement. I believe we've paid them too much. There's an arrogance. They think that they can get away with anything. They're not really interested in helping the millennials. They're only interested in becoming rich themselves. I'm not going to, sugarcoat this. And I'm going to ask you the Barbara Walters style questions. And I'm going to be really intelligent about my interviews. I read everything about you before I interview you. Yes, I have the beautiful wardrobe. Yes, I could write about it in the Financial Times. And I could predict what's going to happen next. I am not happy with Jeff Bezos. I am not happy with Tony Robbins. I am not happy with Sir Martin Sorrell. He can, try and get his PR machine and his law firm out there, and I think they call it the PR sexual harassment industrial complex. Because no matter what we talk about at World Economic Forum or Bilderberg or Cannes Lions, we still see a predominantly white male. We've been trying since 2011 to get more women invited to the World Economic Forum. I've gotten it from 15% to 22%, but there was only an increase of 1% this year, which was incredibly disappointing. So I am now going to share with you some of the challenges that we had in the Davos CEO Pledge. So Lionel Barber, please stay tuned. Paul Murphy, thank you so much. Sir Martin Sorrell is a big shocker, because I thought that Sir Martin Sorrell was being asked to leave WPP Group by the board because the chairman came from private equity. His numbers were not doing well. He was now in his 70s. He had a great run. But then I find out several months later, and by the way, even in the Wall Street Journal, the way they positioned it was Sir Martin had said that he didn't even know what these allegations were of this impropriety. Financial impropriety is what they called it. The reality is we find out about 5 months later in the Daily Mail that there was impropriety, that there were people that were WP employees who had seen him going into a Mayfair prostitute. If this is true, I am so upset with Sir Martin Sorrell, because I don't see how a CEO of a publicly traded company could think that he could get away with that. The Financial Times actually broke the story whereby there were assistants and people that had worked with him who said he was so difficult to work for. He was mean-spirited. Well, that just doesn't fly in today's society, gentlemen. So I don't care how much money you make. The problem is the more money you make, the more tempestuous you can be. Jeff Bezos' time is up at Amazon. It goes beyond cheating on his wife, which was bad enough. It's also how he's handled not paying his employees a living wage. It's not fair that American taxpayers have to give food stamps to Amazon employees. That is just wrong. So morally and ethically, Jeff Bezos has failed as a leader. As much as we admired what he did with Amazon over the years, with my own experience with Amazon creating a video, putting it up on Amazon, they really don't help you with the marketing of it. They really don't help women entrepreneurs. Yes, they send you your check when you get royalties, but they make it kind of hard because they change all their policies. You have to have captions. And I also don't like the fact that employees at Amazon are working in terrible conditions around the world. We've heard stories about how they don't get any breaks. I've always been concerned about billionaires who spend time on how to get to space, because some of them do not have empathy for the people in their own country, and this is a big problem. I've seen this a little bit with Richard Branson too, as nice as he comes across. He lives on Necker Island, and he doesn't seem too worried about the women who voted for Brexit, and the entrepreneurs and the fishermen and the farmers in the UK, where he made his fortune originally. So Richard, I'd ask you to do some real soul searching right now. And Elon Musk has soul searching to do. You know, I'm very upset with Tony Robbins right now. I told him, I tweeted him when the last scandal came out about him about a year ago, and his comments, negative comments about me too. I said to him, you know, Tony, you really need a female executive coach. You should call me. Let's talk it over. Unfortunately, he didn't do that, and now he's really in deep water. So BuzzFeed has done their investigation. They've come out with these allegations that he was incredibly rude to some of his staff. But not only that, he also used the 4-letter word at his conferences in front of women who had been in very difficult positions of having been harassed, raped, etc. And I can't tell you how much that upsets most women. Using the F word is incredibly inappropriate, guys, in front of any woman. And what we need to do is to make sure that Tony never uses the F word again at a conference, because that is really upsetting. I mean, they hire people like People Magazine to write these articles that there's nothing wrong with Tony. Well, that's not working anymore, Meredith Corporation. So I think we need to really understand that we need to go back to the days of integrity in media. Okay, if we go out to Silicon Valley, they don't understand the feminine leadership style and the yin yang of leadership. They don't want to. I called up Google, the person who at the time ran executive coaching for Google, at the suggestion of a very high-profile investment manager. We were introduced. She never even had the courtesy to get back to me, a world's top business thinker. And that showed me that a lot of these companies, a lot of these billionaire-driven tech companies are hiring lower-level people who will just kind of go along with the program. And so this whole movement to hire more millennials has been a real problem, because there has been less transparency in terms of what's really going on at the top, in terms of what's happening to women, in terms of bad decision making. Alpha males with credentials, alpha males with integrity, they do not do those things. Call me for executive coaching. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, we are in the internet age. You can have meetings on conference calls like I've done for so many years. You can be much more effective by doing things in a more cost-effective and a more planet-friendly way. But a lot of the people who protect the planet are actually conservatives, and that's the big news that's come out. And I think that's why Brexit happened, that's why Trump happened. A lot of us know we need to invest in women-owned businesses. We don't want to have more companies failing. We don't want all of the economic power in the hand of a small number of multinational companies. And frankly, I am upset with the United Nations and their global goals. You know, they have all these ideals and they think that socialism is better, but it's not, because socialism fails. Look at what happened in Venezuela. You really need to revamp what you're talking about over there at the UN. I am launching a new show called Sandra Rupp's CEOs and Leaders with a Heart. I'm Sandra Rupp, and I was placed on the Thinkers 50 Guru Radar list for the world's top business thinkers. Welcome to the art of 21st century career navigation. We're ready for Davos. I'd like to give a warm welcome to my viewers around the globe. Welcome to the #1 happiest, healthiest city in the USA. We need to wake up Davos, and we need to get women to all these conferences.